Greetings from Central Virginia. It's the beginning of July, so you know what that means. It's time for a garden tour. I'm doing them about once a month so that you can see the progress from month to month to month. And as I always say at the beginning of a garden tour, if garden tours are your thing, hang out with me here for the next 12 to 15 minutes. If it's not your thing, run along, no hard feelings. So, what is happening in my garden in July? Well, it's sort of bursting. There have been some issues, as we say. The issues for me have been sudden intense rain for several days, followed by sudden intense heat, uncharacteristic for early in the summer, in June, and then more uncharacteristic heat, and then more uncharacteristic rain. So that has created a myriad of challenges, and some of my plants, frankly, have just given up the ghost and they're not producing, and you'll see what I mean. So this is a time, usually this doesn't set in until later in July, where we begin really battling funguses and disease. But this year, surprise, surprise, we get a little bit early. But nonetheless, there's lots to look out here in the garden, and I've been harvesting lots out of it already as well. So come on, let's take a look. Let's start on the south side exterior because there's so many gorgeous things that are blooming. And you can see how the Monarda and things have just been, they're so heavy with rain, they're starting to bend over. I have to come out and trim some of these. I've been pruning back some of my beautiful, beautiful plants. Loads of things were planted. This echinacea is a single plant. Can you believe it? I planted it last year from a transplant that I had grown, and look at it. Last year, it didn't even peek out from behind everything else, and this year it decides it's going to be a champion. I have some gorgeous gladiolas, and they have been doing very well. I've got some milkweed planted in here. I may live to regret that because this might end up taking over everything, but we'll just kind of monitor and see. And this butterfly weed to attract, you know what, beautiful butterflies. Miss Deer or Mr. Deer did decide they were going to come up and chomp off, you can see right here, some of the celosia, but they left the rest of it alone. So hopefully that's what they'll do. This is a tomato plant, a cherry tomato plant that I've been harvesting already. You can see that there's some little cherry tomatoes back there. The bracts look very good, and it's just going to continue to produce as long as it can. I'm just letting it kind of go up this trellis here. I'm so excited that I have lemongrass that is doing well, and artichokes, and I've got dahlias here that I grew from seed starting in March. And I have here some sunflowers that I just planted, about 5 days ago. So they're going to come along and be in the center of this pumpkin patch. These are pumpkins that are growing here. Seminole pumpkins and cheese tan pumpkins and a self-planted Mexican sunflower, otherwise known as a tithonia. I have a couple of other pumpkin transplants here. These are some Chinese red noodle beans that are growing along here, and a lanternfly just flew into my face and I killed it. Ha ha! I had a good harvest of blueberries. That's pretty much done now, and right now I'm harvesting blackberries from those vines over here. And here are the leeks, which I've been harvesting out. I probably will just let the pumpkins take over this whole space, give them plenty of room. I like to tuck in flowers everywhere. And I have my row of eggplants. I just posted recently a long video on my tips for growing eggplants. So I've had good luck so far with the blackberries. I've been having to pick off some lanternflies and some Japanese beetles, but overall that's been working pretty well. But look here, little Miss or Mr. Deer came along and chomped off these. So I call these deer pruned. You've heard air pruned. This is deer pruned. The hops that I transplanted in December are very happy in their new home. This is the new adjunct extra tomato row that I put in here. And you can see that I've got tomatoes that are coming along really nicely. Let me show you this beauty. Where is it? This is a Cherokee purple. This is a Cherokee purple. Look at this tomato. I can't wait till it gets ripe. I think it's got another week or so on it. So the tomato plants out here are doing pretty well. I have noticed that on the homestead tomato, which is this one, I have some fungus, but I've been peroxiding it, and I'm hoping that I can just keep it at bay for these indeterminate tomatoes. I mean, look at these. Gorgeous. I've been eating blackberry, the 2-cupful every single day. Can you imagine the antioxidants that's packed in there? This is the tomato that does not want to be contained. I've been tying it up and tying it up and tying it up more and more and more. But, you know, hey, it's doing its thing. I've got my Cinderella pumpkins here. And on the outside here, more lemongrass, which suddenly seems to have just taken a massive leap. It's like one giant leap for mankind. Here's some sugar baby watermelons. These are some squash plants because I had squash disaster. And up here, I have more eggplants and gorgeous lavender. The lavender has not been happy with the rain, but I promised it'll get dry soon. I've got to come in and prune back the Monarda because I wanted to keep growing through and blooming throughout the summer. Little bits of yarrow. And over here, look at this dahlia. It seems to have grown 6 inches overnight. These are Sweet William and phlox and more dahlias. And tucked back in here are my hot peppers, my fish peppers and my serrano peppers and a very happy bee. And I'm gonna need to come in and tie these up so that they don't shade out the pepper plants. On the north side, we have loads and loads of flowers. I've got this is just kind of a wild area. It's got some tomatoes, it's got some flowers coming, it's got all sorts of stuff going. And this is also another deer pruned area of roses, which does not bring me joy. The roses bring me joy, but not the deer pruned spaces. I have another little milkweed plant over here, which is seeming to be very, very happy. And I'm hoping that will just propagate itself out into the fields. I thought that my passion flower vine was a goner, but it's not. There's a little bit here, and it is starting to propagate and grow itself up the trellis. So that will be nice as the summer progresses. And you will notice Japanese beetles, which I'm going to have to come out and kill. I pick them off and put them in soapy water. All right, so over here, outside, here's another row of eggplants growing in containers. You can watch my video on that. And flowers, as well as beautiful pepper plants that are just going. Here's a volunteer cherry tomato. I'm just letting it do its thing. Part of my theme this year is, in some parts, get to go wild. We've been harvesting eggplants now for a few days. They are so good, so tasty. And over here I have a Thelma Sanders winter squash that has started finally to really take off. That one is a Pippo squash, and so I'm watching it really careful for things like vine borers, checking the lower stems along every single day to make sure I don't see eggs, which are hard to find because the vine borers only lay a single egg at a time. But boy, is that a deadly egg. Let's go in the gate. Call this the Sage East Gate. On the south side of the trellis, there are butternut squash. These are butternut squash, Waltham butternut squash, Virginia Select growing. I think I found the sweet spot for the ginger all the way in there. It likes the shade that it gets from the tomatoes in the afternoon and from the crazy Clipdaga plant that is now a good 10 feet tall. Moving into the eastern center of the garden, the lower garden, I have lots and lots of tomatoes coming along. There are tomatoes, and these are my sauce patch tomatoes. To the north end of this, we have our row of sweet peppers growing, and marigolds and basil, as well as lima beans. Now here's where I had big trouble. My big trouble was my summer squash plants got hit by something, I think probably a bacterial wilt carried by the cucumber beetles, and I had to pull them out. So I have replanted them in different places, including over here. So hopefully we're not going to have squash all summer long, but we'll have squash in another few weeks. Likewise, this particular kale plant has been hit a lot by the harlequin bugs, and somehow, look, the squash bugs have decided they've decided that they like my kale, so it's going to get squished. Here's a new bug I haven't seen before. My other troublesome area, and I think it's because of the weather and the cucumber beetles, are my cucumber plants. And this one has just been struggling. I'm going to pull its plant because every time it starts to grow, the leaves wilt, the ends die. But I have some more coming along, so cucumbers are just going to be late this year. Here is a Costa Romanesca squash plant, which we have been harvesting. I think there's another one on the vine right now, ready to go. And over here, I have now taken out all the peas, and I've taken out a lot of the borage, and I have replanted this area. I'm going to keep the chard in, but here's my Trumbacina squash that are starting to grow. Over here is another tomato, and I've got some beets growing in there. My sauce patch is absolutely loaded, and hopefully they'll make it through. The succession bean bed. I have pretty much harvested out this first succession of Maxibels, although there's one or two here and there. I'm about to finish harvesting the contenders, and the second wave is about ready, and the third wave is coming along. So you can see a video about how I pulled out and prepped this brassica bed. Here on the south side, I've been harvesting leeks out of the grow bag. I have been harvesting, I better harvest this. This is like a Japanese beetle, which I'm going to kill. Yeah, you can see this live on YouTube. I have been harvesting some beautiful carrots. That's just not one of them. And those are purple Majesty potatoes that have been harvested. These borage are going to come out because they've just gotten too big. And look, here are lima beans growing up the trellis. Lots of flowers on there. And we've got our sauce patch over here. Doing really well, except for a couple of plants. Here are some newly planted Suyulongs. And here is a previously planted Suyulong that finally decided it wanted to grow up the trellis. Here on the south side are more indeterminate tomatoes. And take a look at this cluster of Cherokee purples. Oh my God, they're coming along. I just can't wait. I've actually harvested one of the Japanese Triphellis, and this plant is just loaded with more, as you can see. I've never grown this variety before, but I can see we're going to be friends. It's the plant that does not want to be contained. And I have basil growing. I have some Roma beans back here, not so many. Some germinated, but it was a heat wave, so I'm going to have to replant. This is a mortgage lifter that's fighting some disease. And which one is this? This is the Drusba. The Drusba has never been a big producer for me. I'm not seeing a ton of flowers, and I think if it doesn't do so well this year, I'm going to say bye-bye. It's a lot of vine, but not a lot of production yet. Here are more Chinese asparagus beans. Long beans. And here's another area of struggling cucumbers. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll start to take off and grow. I've harvested a few cucumbers, but nothing like I ought to be harvesting by this time. And this is the Minorita blocker. So I have to come in and really cut this back. I hate to do it, but oh my God, look at these flowers. This is just all from one plant that I planted 4 years ago. And this stand is like, probably 8 feet by 6 feet in length and width. It's phenomenal. I'm going through. At this point, there's so much Monarda, I don't worry about killing some of it, honestly. It needs to go. Oh, no, it doesn't need to go. I don't want to tell it to go. I just need to tell it that we don't need it quite this much. I just broke off some here. All right, let's go through. It's a Monarda jungle. I have harvested these potatoes out of here. All right, so over here we have, I pulled out some peas. I've got some beans, Dean's purple potted, which I love. I harvested them this morning. My biggest problem here has been Japanese beetles, and you can see the beetle damage here. But I don't use pesticides. I just come out and hand pick, and you can't get every single one. So I've got some tomatoes, cherry tomatoes growing up the north side fence, dill ready to harvest, and some beautiful sage here. All right, I'm fearing that I just crashed my microphone. We'll see if it works. Got some Monarda that I kind of butchered along the way. All right, so that is a look at my, that's my early July garden tour. Because we're now in prime months, I might decide to do a little tour mid-month just to see give you updates. But I pretty much post almost every single day, so you can kind of follow the things that I'm doing in the garden and the progress of various things. So the usual July stuff: deer, bugs, humidity, and heat here in Central Virginia. I hope your garden's doing well. I hope you're getting cucumbers, because I'm not really getting that many cucumbers, and that makes me a little sad. But a garden teaches you to be resilient, and I keep reminding myself of that. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye. Whew. I have apples on my apple tree. I'm really hoping the deer don't figure that out. But they probably will.